Hello, everyone. Today I have a call with a gentleman from the UK, and apparently he's doing pretty well with his e-commerce store, drop shipping. And without further ado, let's meet him. Let's get to know him. Let's see what's going on.
Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up.
Hello, good morning.
Hey James, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing amazing, yeah.
As you've seen in the other videos, normally how we do the calls, you can explain a little bit about your situation, what you're doing, and then we can go to some questions.
Yeah. So I got a referral from Robert Richards.
Oh, okay.
And he talked about how he started an American LLC company and used you guys for it. So I was reaching out, to get more information.
Do you already have a US LLC?
I don't.
And you're in the UK though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you don't have a company. Are you doing business already?
Yeah, I am. I have a UK limited company.
Okay, and with that, how's it going? Are you making money? Are you
Yeah. We've been running it since October 2018. It's been running pretty well.
What are do you make can you give me like a ballpark of how much you're netting in profits every year so we can see, because that kind of impacts how what I recommend you do.
Yeah. So this month we have about $350,000 in revenue at about $60,000 net profit.
Okay, so you're doing well. Okay, and that's e-commerce. So what are you selling? Just curious.
Yeah, so right now we're selling phone cases and a boxing resistance band, and we're shipping out of China directly.
That's a lot. You're selling a lot of phone cases, huh?
Orders in the last 45 days. It's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, because that's a lot of sales for like low ticket items. So that's awesome. Good for you. So great. So you're paying taxes in the UK. You're paying pretty high taxes in the UK, right?
Yeah, I think it's 19% corporation tax.
So you're paying 19% corporate tax, and you're leaving it all in the corporation?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I find most of the e-commerce guys I work with are doing, is they leave it in the corporation. So for you, it probably makes, huh? Yeah, reinvesting, because I mean you're trying to like make more instead of just like take this and invest it somewhere else, right? So yeah, so it looks like with the 19% corporate rate in the UK, it's pretty good. It's better than the 21% corporate rate in the US. So an LLC would probably be best, and you could own it directly with your limited company in the UK. There's some other benefits that you can do between the UK and the US, because we have a really good tax treaty, but it doesn't for yourself. I think just using an LLC and then reporting all the results of the LLC on your UK corporate return is probably the best way to do it, and the safest way to do it.
Yeah, because the entire reason I want to get a US LLC is to have access to the merchant accounts out there. So our business model can be classified as high risk because of the longer delivery time. Mm-hmm. So usually just having the usual payment processes, it could be risky. Now, our current website, we've been running it for like 1.5 years, so the history's built up very well. But to expand right now, we want to be opening up new stores. Now, if you open up a store and you run, $10,000 in the first week, you automatically get flagged by the payment processors. So, it's beneficial to have a high-risk processor. And the issue here is, if you have a UK merchant account, obviously the majority of our transactions come from the States, right? So when you have a UK merchant account, a lot of transactions get flagged as foreign. So you get a lot of declined payments.
Yeah.
And they add up quite a lot.
Oh, for sure, of course, yeah.
Having an American merchant account, would be a game changer.
Yeah, of course, and that's something we can definitely do. So here's kind of how it works. So I'm guessing you want to use like Stripe is probably the biggest one here, is the biggest merchant service here is Stripe. There's a lot of them though, and if you can work with smaller ones, maybe you can get a better service, more customized service. I can't really recommend a specific payment processor, but I know there's a lot. So here's the thing, right? So we can open an LLC and you can use that. There's just sometimes it's more difficult opening payment processors as a foreign person with an LLC unless you have like an ITIN. Sometimes it works fine, but sometimes there's more issues just because you're a foreign owner and they know that. And there's a lot of just like from the UK, there's a lot of if you're selling to US people from the UK, some transactions get flagged because they're foreign. It's the same thing when you have foreign people opening US payment processors. They want to make sure that you're not just there to like sell a bunch of crappy stuff and then leave. So it's the same thing. So the reason I'm saying it this way is because that's why a corporation sometimes can be easier in terms of using payment processors, but it can be a little like it's easier to register. It's easier to operate with corporations sometimes than it is with LLCs. Since you have a pretty um, big business already, it might be easier to just use the LLC and then send all the money straight back to UK. The tax filing is easier and stuff. But if you have any issues, then you can try and open a corporation too. It's not really that much of an issue to open up more than one company if you had to. But starting with the LLC probably works.
Yeah, because I read some research about how with the LLC, the taxes, the owners are responsible for taxes, whereas for corporations, the actual corporation pays taxes.
Yes, exactly right. So, but in that respect, if you have an LLC and the owner isn't doing anything in the United States, the owner wouldn't pay any taxes. That's the kind of the benefit of the LLC is that you don't pay any taxes, and there's only really one tax form you have to do every year to kind of disclose information to the government.
Yeah.
So it's very low amount of like bureaucracy, very low amount of stuff you have to do, and then also the you don't pay any taxes.
Yeah, because we don't have a nexus in the United States. We're shipping from China, so we don't have to get sales tax, and obviously because I'm a foreign person, I don't have to pay the federal income tax or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is corporate tax you have to pay? Because here in the UK, I have to pay 19% on the profits that come in. Do you have to pay any tax?
So if you use the corporation, what I would recommend is to basically have no profit in the U.S. corporation. To basically use it just for payment processing, and then send all the money out to the U.K. immediately. So you really have no profit. So you'd have no tax to pay in the U.S.
Yeah.
So that way. Yeah, that way you're operating with a U.S. company, a U.S. corporation, and you get have the benefits of that. But if you operate it and you send the payments back to the UK because that's where you're doing all the work, and you recognize maybe a small profit in the U.S., like $5,000 profit, pay like $1,000 of taxes every year, like maybe that would be easier, because it's easier with an established corporation to like get loans and do business with other countries and things like that because it's a real company. LLCs are really for just payment processing, and it does work for like small e-commerce people. But I'm just thinking, since you're you're growing and you're doing better, it might be easier operationally to use a corporation. That's what I'm kind of saying.
Yeah, and that's if we push all the profits to the UK, because also obviously as my business is a very capital intensive one, if I use the American bank account to pay for everything, right? So for example, you spend 100 grand on Facebook ads, and I want to use the funds from the payment process. I want to use the funds I make, through the company.
Yeah. How do you? So that's something that my clients in South Latin America have problems with, is paying Facebook. Do you have to pay any like currency fees or anything to pay Facebook from the UK accounts?
Yeah, so many, but I recently fixed the issue because before there wasn't any. We have a bank here called Monzo, and they opened a business bank account system, and they don't charge any foreign fees. But before that, it was 3%. If you're spending 100 grand a month, you're paying 3 grand a month, in foreign fees.
Yeah, exactly. So it adds up.
Yeah.
So basically, if you, it's like it's from a tax perspective, it's how you operate it. But from an operational perspective, I found that corporations are easier to operate. And I can like assist with opening the bank accounts here and stuff like that if you use a corporation and things like that. But what am I gonna say? it just might be easier operationally, and you can pay all your expenses and operate fully from the U.S. And since the tax rate's only 2% difference, you could just recognize profits in both, and that way you have really a backup. Like you have you have like your main UK company that's doing most of the profits, and that could be more of like a personal company that where you just recognize profits, and then you can make your U.S. company your operational company. And that's what I do with a lot of my bigger e-commerce people, is just use corporations, just because operationally it's so much easier, and do it that way. So that might be the best bet for you.
Yeah. So compared to an LLC, you mean it's more difficult to get like a payment processor?
It's well, it's more difficult to open bank accounts. You can certainly get payment processors with LLCs, and it can work, but they can also say they can also deny you. And I just haven't seen much. No, I've seen it with SaaS. I have some SaaS clients that do really well with LLCs, and like I said, an LLC would probably work for you. But if you want to use a corporation too, we could also make it work and really minimize the tax burden. And they both returns, both company types have one kind of return to file each year. And I'm trying to think of like specific instances. Like it's just like while most payment processors will still let you open an account with an LLC, sometimes they give you a hard time, and they require you to have a U.S. address or require you to be a U.S. person. And it's just really inconsistent from their part, and it changes a lot. And if they were to change and not allow non-U.S. companies to use them, then you'd have to open a new company and start over. Whereas if you have a U.S. corporation, they're never going to say a U.S. corporation can't use a payment processor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm in talks with a few payment processors. Have you heard of Blue Snap?
No. They have good rates and stuff?
Yeah, it's more of a niche-based one, of course. So, like, I use Stripe, I use Shopify payments, I use PayPal. All of that, you can get everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not like tailored to e-commerce, because especially with PayPal and Stripe, they can give you a 10%, a 25% rolling reserve for 90 days, which definitely hurts cash flow. And that's like the main motivation to get a US LLC/corporation, to get access to the high risk processors.
Yeah, and I think it's what I'm saying is, especially the more niche processors there's a chance that they won't want to work with you if you're using an LLC and you're a foreign person. They'll want to have they'll want you to have a corporation.
Yeah.
So that's just like something to consider.
Yeah, of course. I'm definitely, I'll ask them as well, if they prefer, having a LLC or a corporation.
But what I'm saying is, if you operate it the right way, there's no difference from a tax perspective, how like you won't have to pay any other taxes. So that's what I'm saying, for a bigger business like yourself that's actually churning and making some money, it probably will be easier operationally to use a corporation. I'm just like, from my experience of doing this all the time and opening companies for people and like advising them on it, the corporations are always a little bit easier and a little bit faster, especially for international people. But the LLCs pay no taxes at all. So that's the LLCs are really, really good for like service businesses, people selling courses, people who have really low risk kind of businesses and low risk of returns and things like that. So that's where LLCs are really perfect. But for e-commerce, sometimes I'll say a corporation will be easier and better.
Yeah, because we're looking to scale, right? Like, we're trying to go to 7-8 figures in the next few years.
And they have a lot of things like what's that? They have a lot of like really cool like loan services for U.S. companies that like give you loans at really good rates just for Facebook ads and things like that. There's a lot of like there's just a lot of capital in the U.S. market.
Yeah, you guys have like the coolest credit cards too. Like,
yeah.
Here, like, I've had friends telling me, you have cashback credit cards where you get like 2%, 4% cashback on Facebook ads. And here there's like nothing, that's like
I have a ton of credit cards. Yeah. Whenever I see a credit card offer and it's like, oh, free stuff, let me sign up for that. And I sign up. I have everything. Yeah.
I don't have anything like that here. I've probably lost like 10 grand in the last month by not using a credit card, if I had the same benefits as the US ones.
Well, that's another thing. Like once you, like I said, you can still get a credit card with an LLC, but it's going to be generally easier with a corporation. You could get, if you can show your numbers and stuff, you can get an Amex Platinum card, and then they have really no limit.
Yeah.
They can stop you, but yeah, I would recommend if you're doing ads with like an Amex, you have a backup card. You always have backup cards. You want to get your accounts flagged or whatever, but yeah, then you can just like spend and spend and spend and spend and spend, especially if you see the ROI in the ads.
Because we need a lot of accounts, like especially Facebook have become really strict with our business. It's notorious for having people, it's a scam business model, some people say.
Well, I mean, it's if you send the product, it's not a scam. But if you just like sell stuff and don't deliver anything at all, or like deliver something completely different, then that's
Yeah, because it's so easy to set up. Like after this call, you could go and set up your own business in the next half an hour. That's how easy it is.
yeah. Set up a Facebook a Facebook ad store or whatever, right? Or like a Facebook ad for anything, right?
For anything, yeah. And all the products can be sourced easily. Like you can find everything I sell. You can find it on AliExpress. You can find it anywhere really. So there's a very low barrier to entry.
Yeah, and believe me, I get calls from e-commerce people all the time. I've done e-commerce myself. I wasn't successful with it. I didn't pick the right products or whatever. But obviously not everyone's as successful as you've been, because it's although there's low barriers to entry, you have to run the ads the right way and optimize the right way, do the right customer service, and you can't scale if you don't have it all put together.
Yeah, there's so much behind it. Like, it's incredible. And I'm just getting started. Like this is at the beginning.
Yeah, you look pretty young, so I mean that's good. That's good. You're rolling like this. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah. So in summary, you'd recommend, a corporation based on how it is to run operationally.
It's probably easier with a corporation, just in terms of signing up for different processors, credit cards, things like that. And because if you want to keep profits here, the 2% difference in tax rate's not going to cripple your business if you did want to keep counting profits in the U.S. Because I guess, again, it'll also be easier to pay all the U.S. companies, since everything is based, like Google and Facebook are all based in the U.S. It might be easier to do it that way. Doesn't make a difference. Okay. Yeah. So really, the difference between an LLC and a corporation is really it's really nuanced. For you, it's going to be about the same, because you probably do accounting. You got to control where you're keeping your profits. And I just think it'll be a little bit easier operationally to use a corporation, in my opinion.
Yeah, because of course, like I plan on like in the last even the profit we've made in the last 2 months. Like I've only taken out like $500 for myself.
Well, I would recommend that you pay yourself enough to get up to that 19% tax rate. So, you know what I mean? Like pay yourself enough so that personally you're at the 19% tax bracket as well, because that way you're giving up tax bracket, right? You're giving up tax rate, because if you can pay yourself 50,000 pounds and not have to and pay only like 15% tax on that, do it, because you're saving money.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put all that back in the business anyway. Like I don't really need the money for anything else like right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And when it comes to the taxes, the LLCs don't need tax, but the corporations, you have to pay tax on profits. But like you said, you can just get rid of the profits anyway.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, there's each company has one form to file each year, really, and you can control the reality is you're doing all the work from the UK, and there's nothing really happening in the US. You're using the US company just for like payment processing and logistics. So if you didn't want to recognize barely any profits in the US, it would be completely feasible, and you could have this very similar results with the LLC. It's basically have no profit here.
Yeah. So I think the next steps for me would be to reach out to these payment processors and see what they would prefer, right? An LLC or a corporation.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the fence about it, you can reach out and then kind of just see if it makes a difference to them. And if it doesn't make a difference, you can go with the LLC. I still think of corp is probably easier, even with all my Canadian clients. It's very similar to the UK, right? It's in terms of like how businesses run, where it's like a English-speaking country, fully developed, all online, is cohesive and good relationship with the US. They still use U.S. corporations to basically run the whole business, and then just pay most of the profits, or a lot of the profits, back to their Canadian companies to pay themselves. So it's like kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Is there like an equivalent here in the UK? Because I have a limited company, which I guess would be the equivalent of an LLC. A corporation, would that
But you
be
said it pays, if the company pays taxes, then it's equivalent to a corporation because an LLC doesn't pay taxes.
right? So an LLC wouldn't be similar to a limited company in the UK.
No, because you said the limited company pays taxes, right?
Got it. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So the limited company would be like a corporation, although you can have an LLC and elect for it to be taxed as a corporation. So you can have an LLC that is taxed like a corporation if you want, which would, I think, be more of what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot to wrap my head around.
You don't have to, man. Just work with me. I'll do it all for you, and I'll help manage it all for you. Because that's really, can't tell you like what I do with my clients and how we like manage it. Yeah.
Yeah. Please. Yeah.
So generally, I'm the point of contact for my clients who have businesses here. So I use our address. I open everything. I register everything. I help with the bank accounts, any sales tax registrations or initial stuff like that that you need help with. I can help with that. Any IRS correspondence and notices. Basically, you're an agent that manages everything in the U.S. and set up the companies. I give you my phone number if you have any questions about anything, and it's generally works pretty well. And that's basically it. So I guess from now, if you want to talk to the people, the payment process you're talking about, sleep on it, and then just make a decision like in the next day or two, just let me know which you want to go with, the corporation or the LLC. Because like I said, both will probably work. The corporation will probably be a little bit easier operationally, but you need to be kind of on top of the accounting at year end.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would need to hire a US accountant to do.
You can hire any local accountant. It's this accounting is basically going to be the same. It's, income, expenses, classify everything. So you can use your same outsourced accountant if you want, or we can do accounting for you, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah.
I'm sure you have like 50 virtual assistants that work for you that do all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure one of them does accounting. That's what all my other e-commerce guys do.
Yeah. I've got 2 assistants right now. Like, I run a very lean operation, but it works. Right.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
no, likewise. If you I didn't know if we talked about it before. Can I put this call on the YouTube channel?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll be in touch, and let me know if you have any questions, and hope we work together. Thanks.
Yeah. Send me a link to your YouTube channel too, please.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much. Have
See
a
you,
great
buddy.
day.
You too. Okay, so that call went really well. You can see when you're working with developed countries that have good relationships with the U.S., when you're talking Mexico, Canada, the U.K., there's a lot of options, and it's really tough to decide what you want to do, especially in a business where you're doing all of the services from your home country. Having a corporation isn't necessarily bad, but you need to be much more on top of it than you do with an LLC. So, for example, if you have a corporation, you need to just make sure your year-end accounting and your books are correct, and that you have the right amount of profit and the right amount of jurisdiction as it applies to your business. So if you have an LLC, you don't really have to worry about any of that. You can just kind of operate and never think about it. So an LLC is a little bit easier operationally, but I have seen a lot less issues with corporations in terms of registering for credit cards and payment processors and things in the US. It's generally easier with a corporation. So that's why for businesses that are more advanced, that are at the next level, like he said, it was 60 a month a profit. That's awesome. Young guy too. That's awesome. And so he's doing 60 a month. So that's really you got to look for how to streamline your operations more than streamline what's easier. You want to do what's better for the business, not necessarily what's easier. So we'll see what he decides to do. And thanks for watching. So if you thought this was helpful and you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. And if you want to have a call with me, I think there should be a link in the description to do that below. My finger's on the frame. So no, thank you for watching. Until the next time.